Hey guys, my name is Peter Hurley and I'm in my New York studio today and I'm so psyched to have the B&H guys here filming, and we're doing some video action today here in my studio showing you my process, what I do, what goes on. This is the place, right? Well, I started years ago. I picked up a camera. I was a model, actor, bartender dude, and I fell in love with photography because I was modeling a lot and I was working with these amazing photographers. I just thought what they did was really cool. I never thought about that I could do it, but I thought if I could do it, it would probably be the coolest job that you could possibly have. And now I'm in the firm belief that I have the coolest job that I could possibly have. I love taking pictures on a daily basis and feel fortunate to have picked up a camera. But back then I was like, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I didn't know what an aperture was. I definitely didn't know what a flash sync was. That was a complete mess. It took me like months to just figure that out. I was getting black pictures, these curtain coming across the picture. I was like, what is this? Anyway, it was trial and error. I didn't know light. I didn't know, I had a film camera and I had a big window and I plopped myself on my window and put, it was a southern facing window, and I put my subject in front of me and I started shooting. And back then it was all black and white. So throughout the day, the sun would do whatever it's gonna do. And if it was a rainy day, I would just take diffusion off the window. And if it was a sunny day, I would diffuse the window with some cloth and I would get beautiful pictures. A couple years later, I got a studio and I'm in my studio. In my studio, I moved into a building that had no windows. This was a problem. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've got some strobes, but when I blow it off, it goes all over the room and I can't handle it. So I ended up going for continuous light. There was a photographer that was shooting with Kinoflows outside my little studio in a bigger studio, and he left them over the weekend after he was done, and I set him up and I started shooting him, and I was like, this is it. This is amazing. This gives me the light I need. It gives me the natural look that I love. What I started out doing was taking these Kinos and blasting the people in the face. It was essentially the same as when I was sitting on the ledge of that window. I would have the sun behind me coming through. So I put all these lights in front of me and I shoot through them. With continuous light, you really have control. With a strobe, I'm just like shooting it and then looking at the image and adjusting, and it's all trial and error that way. Continuous light, you just look and you go, okay, let me move this closer, this back. Let me see what this is doing on my jawline. Let me see what the key light's doing over here. And it's just more of an organic process for me. So I've been using Kinoflows for years. I got something up my sleeve. I started a new company called Hurley Pro, and I'm designing my own lighting system based on these same beliefs. So look out for that in the near future. So I am here with my baby, which is the new H5D50 by Hasselblad. I've been a medium format shooter pretty much since I started. The reason is that when I was modeling, every photographer that I saw had a big camera, and I was like, why do they have big cameras? I was with all these fashion guys and like big time photographers, and I was like, if I get a camera, I'm gonna get a big one. That's all I thought. There was no sense behind it. Did I need it? No. Did I get it? Yes. And did I get accustomed to it? Yes. Do you need a H5D50 to take good pictures? No. Do you want an H5D50 to take good pictures? Yeah, well, I mean, I did. So I do commercial work where it really does make a difference. The clients flip out when they see the detail. I was shooting fabrics for one of my clients the other day, and they were just like, wow, you know. So if you have the jobs to support a camera like this, then yeah, go get yourself an H5D50. But if you don't feel like you're missing a beat with any other camera on the market, because I feel like I could take a headshot with anything, or a good portrait with anything, or a picture of that fabric with anything. But the bells and whistles on this thing make my workflow work, make me shoot the best thing. I feel confident shooting this camera, and it's what I'm comfortable with. Like, you put a DSLR in my hands, I don't know what to do. I don't know which buttons to press. I don't own a DSLR. I've never owned a DSLR. I have an iPhone, I have a Fuji X100S, and I have a Hasselblad H5D50, and that's it. Those are the three cameras that I run with. Here you can see I've got the Profoto Air remote. I'm always shooting tethered. Guys, if you're shooting people and you can shoot tethered, It's the #1 way I coach because I want them to see the shots. I want them to get feedback. Just having a JerkStopper on here is just amazing. This is by Tether tools, and I got my tethering cable. I'm always traveling with my Aero system tether table, so I have my computer right next to me at all times if I'm not in the studio. Otherwise, I'm tethered directly into my iMac. But this whole system is what I'm comfortable with. It's what I'm used to. I have it on a FEISOL CT 3472 LV tripod. I just really think that having a tripod that moves really easily and everything's important. And I have the FEISOL heads for them too, which I really like. But I also like this twisty thing from Arca-Swiss, the PO ball head, because it's fast, it's slick, it keeps. I like to shoot loose, so I keep my camera really loose, so I can set this perfectly and just move it around. I also like this feature. Rotating center column is huge for me. I can't stand tripods that don't have a rotating center column because of my workflow. When I'm shooting people, I'm moving. This is a 120 macro lens, which is my go-to lens of choice. It's on my camera, I would say 95% of the time. The other 5%, I have a host of H lenses for the Hasselblad system that I use. And this is just my kit and my backup, and my backup is my H3D 22, which I shot for years before I got the H5D. Always have a backup camera. Whatever system you're using, have a backup camera. I have cameras, these are electronic pieces of equipment. They go down. Always have 2 cameras backing you up at all times because you never know. And you can't have that client waiting. And you can't have that person sitting there like, what's going on? Fumbling around with equipment is not good. Most models come into it in a similar way that I did, is that you just get thrown in front of a camera and you're like a fish out of water. You're just like, okay, what do I do? And what happens is that there's a perception that photographers have, I think, that models are supposed to know what to do. And that's not the case at all. It's not, I mean, I was put in front of a camera. I had never modeled before. And, Bruce just pulled stuff out of me like he does. He's a master at that. And he just makes people comfortable. And you feel like you're in this set that's just created around you through the way that he directs, which allows him to capture real inner beauty on people and stuff like that. But in a studio setting and stuff, when you get somebody in front of your camera, all of a sudden they change. They get in front of the camera, they don't know what they're doing. Even the models who model every day usually have to deprogram them because they get in there and do their signature model poses, and that's not what I'm going for with most of my work. But I remember being in front of a camera on a set similar to this, on a white seamless, and having a photographer in front of me just say, okay, do what you do. And I was like, do what I do? Okay, I don't know what I do. I don't do anything. I'm standing here, I don't know what to do. What do you mean do what I do? This is what's going through my mind. I don't know if I verbalize that, but I was like, okay, do what I do. Okay, I turn a little bit. Okay, turn this way a little bit. And I remember being like, until I got good at modeling, I was like that. I was like, and I'm sure the guy's like, what do I do with this guy? But that guy didn't know what to say to me either. And then as I got coached, I learned how to be better at modeling. So I started doing stuff like this. Big difference, right? A little bit, give the signature look over here with a little brow action. Look over there, I did the Macy's catalog. I was like, that kind of thing. You get used to it and then you just do stuff. You use the clothes the way that you're supposed to use the clothes, and you do stuff with your feet and you move around. But if a photographer if you don't know that, and you haven't done it much, and chances are you're gonna have a million stiff people in front of your camera. You're gonna have to develop what I call as my shtick. I have a shtick. You're gonna have a shtick. You already have a shtick. You already know what you're gonna say the minute somebody steps in front of your camera. If you don't have any communication with the model in front of your camera, whether it's an actor, a lawyer, a family, a pet, with pets, you need to have atmosphere to keep them engaged in the camera, right? Doesn't matter what it is. You, as a photographer, need to be able to speak to your subject to pull things out of them. Tilt your head less. That's it. Forehead out. Get that forehead out. Nose. There you go. Yes. Think about your face. If your face doesn't feel weird, you're not doing anything. Nose this way. You got to feel a little weird. There we go. Now we're talking. Chin down. Smush your knees together. You did it, didn't you? You did do it. I got you doing it. There's a couple things that I do. One is I dissect the face into different quadrants, and I look at them for what I'm lighting from the, you know, the forehead, the cheeks, the jawline, the bridge of the nose, these two areas, you know, the front of the chin, like everything. If you just dissect it and then go, okay, I'm going to hit light in different areas, what's it going to do? It's like, when I walk down the street, if somebody walks by me, I'm always checking out facial features. I'm always like, wow, look at that person. What's that? Look at that. Look at what's going on. And I watch people to see what they do expression-wise to figure out what I really want out of them in front of my camera. What am I going to pull from them? And what am I going to get them to do in front of my camera? Because it's really my vision, or as artists, we have to have a vision. So what's your vision for your photography? My signature line, if you don't know this word, I'm just going to hit you with it right now. It's basically when I see a good picture, or I get a vibe from a picture, or something that I feel is my aesthetic in a picture, I get excited. And when I get excited, I say this word. There you go. Hold that. Good. That was a nice shot. Come on out. Very nice. Very nice. That last one, I felt it. Was it a shebang? Yeah, that's a shebang. That's a shebang. That's a shebang. Can we 3, 2, 1? Shebang! That's it. Because of the feeling. There's a vibe. It's like you're not in front of the camera. You see the difference? Mm-hmm. It's like I'm looking at you and you're looking at me. You're not looking through a camera at me, you're looking at me. In order to get a shebang, the first thing is, I will not shoot somebody without their jawline out. It's just not gonna happen. If I stand like a normal human being, right? See this action? This is not good. So I'm like standing, I'm just standing up straight, just looking in the camera, right? So what I wanna do is I don't think this is good. So I want to get rid of that. So I just go a little bit out and down to see the difference. A little bit more, boom. If I go like this, that's weird. Don't do too much. You're just extending and pulling skin on the face by extending your jawline just a little bit. But what it does is you take the jawbone and you wrap skin around it, and all of a sudden you have a sharper angle of light hitting, just so you actually get a line there instead of a rounder face where it goes around. So I don't care how much weight somebody has. I don't care if they're completely out of shape. I don't care if they're completely really skinny. I'm always looking at the jawline to see what I can do best with it, and it's where all my work starts. After I get the jawline and the body where I want it, then I'm starting to work with the other facial features to have it come together as a cohesive unit. And a lot of times you want to teach these people this stuff, and then you just want to let it go. Because you want them to come, photography, and the moment that the shutter is pressed and the moment something's captured, it's a precious moment. And to get it where you really, really want to fine tune it to get somebody's essence into it, which is what I'm always going for, it has to come from them. Like, you can't jump in their body and do it for them. You can guide them to it, but they've got to do it. And you can't trick them into it, really. I mean, it's basically, I'm coaching the entire time. Hold that, that's good. Hold that right there. Now jam the face forward. Down, chin down. Hold that, that's too big. You smiled too much. But yeah, I mean, it's like a huge, oh, it's so much better. You get more jawline. Now we're talking. All right, so jawline first. Always, first and always the number one thing. For me, that's my scoop. Bring the forehead out. Will not shoot them without it out. Drop the shoulder. Yeah, that's it. Go nose this general direction. Drop that shoulder. Yeah, there. Now bring the forehead out for me. Good. Tilt the head a little bit less. You got what? Nose this way. Stand up straight. There you go. Right there. Nose. Hold that. I like that. Bring the nose a little bit this way. How do you feel about yourself in front of a camera? That's a big factor. Like, people get in front of cameras. I'm sure I've had more photographers get in front of my camera and freak out completely than anybody else. Usually we're hiding behind our camera. We don't want to get in front of it. Get in front of your camera. See how it feels. Know how your person feels in front of your camera. What do you think that'll do for you? It's a big deal. It's huge. Our job as photographers, I think a lot of photographers think that it's just to capture a technically nice image. I think that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You could have a technically nice image, great. If the person looks like this, you don't have a shot. They look like, or like, you've seen that, you've taken these pictures. I know everybody looking at this thing is taking pictures where a person's like this. Because that's what people do when they're in front of cameras. They do it every day in front of my cameras. I take those pictures too. But you know what I do? I delete them as soon as I take them, and I coach that person away from that. If I don't capture that person's expression, I don't have a shot. I have no shot. I don't feel like I have a shot. I feel like I wasted my day. I feel like I wasted the person's time. They get in front of the camera, they go like this. And then you shoot that, and if that's the way they look, you didn't do your job, in my opinion. I didn't do mine. I get people like that every day. You're gonna get people like that too. It's what happens. People get in front of the camera, they change and they get weird. Your job is to make them cool again. That's all my work became. And it had nothing to do with this, cameras and stuff. It could be any camera, it could be any light, it could be anything. Make them cool, and then technically, yeah, make sure your light's good. If you have bad lighting and they look cool, you're in trouble. But if you have decent lighting and you can make people look like they're engaged with the camera, you are gonna be on a roll. You are gonna be in a different hemisphere than every other photographer out there. And you could be like this much better, but it could be a huge difference in the overall scheme of things. So really work on what you say while you're shooting every day. That's what I work on every day, every single day. That's all I do in here. And that's what it's about. And that's why I call myself 90% therapist, 10% photographer. If you want to hear anything more about what I do, definitely check out my DVD. You can get it on peterhurley.com. It's called The Art Behind the Headshot. I also teach a workshop called the Headshot Intensive, and I'm starting the Headshot Intensive online this summer. It's a 12-week course, so check it out.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.